Durham is a diverse and vibrant community rich with innovation, culture, and history. This half hour is dedicated to Durham living healthy. The program is focused on giving you helpful information to improve our community. Hi, I'm Jana, and welcome to another episode of Living Healthy. This show is brought to you by the Durham Diabetes Coalition, a partnership working towards improving the quality of life for adults living with type 2 diabetes in Durham County. We hope this show gives you the information and tools you need to take charge of your health. On this episode, we're going to take a closer look at a community partner of the Durham Diabetes Coalition. We'll get tips on how to stretch your food dollars, ways to stay motivated in keeping physically active, and how to deal with depression that sometimes results from dealing with a chronic illness. In addition, a Durham resident will tell us how being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes didn't slow her down. We'll also find out what is myth versus fact about diabetes. If you can't write down the information you see during this episode fast enough, don't worry, we'll recap everything at the end of the show. Ebenezer Missionary Baptist Church has been a part of Durham for more than 100 years. For the last several years, parishioners have been working to make the church a healthier place. Let's see what types of efforts the members have put forth to make this possible.
I decided to be involved with the Durham Diabetes Coalition because I was curious about the disease itself. I knew very little about type 2 diabetes. The Durham Diabetes Coalition actually came to the church in the fellowship hall and did a workshop session and invited the community to come over, and several people actually came, and it was educational. One of the ladies that actually came to that ended up uniting with the church, so it was a win-win situation. I started coming to the advisory meetings, and as they gave more information, it opened my eyes more, and I wanted to, try to make a small difference in some way by being a part of and give input from a different perspective.
I've been involved with the health ministry for 10 or more years here at Ebenezer Missionary Baptist Church. The reason I got involved with the ministry was because of the fact that I've been a water aerobics instructor for the city of Durham for 20 years. And I've learned through my years of exercising that exercise plays a very important role, and it really does help. Exercise, it really doesn't cost anything.
We've also actually put on a class dealing with type 2 diabetes. One of my parishioners, Valeria Nelson, actually spearheaded that.
The part that I had was just organizing the program, contacting the different organizations like American Heart Association, contacting the Diabetes Coalition, upon which we had Ms. Joyce Page that came out, and Ms. Willa Robinson and all that came over to help us just get this whole program together. We provided a self-management workshop.
And I think about 22 people that actually came and went through the class when we had it here at the church itself.
I was happy to join the health ministry because it helped me with my diabetes and taught me how to eat right.
And it made an impact on their lives. They asked questions.
I mean, my doctor could tell me, but still yet I come in contact with somebody else that came into a meeting and sat down and directly told us what we need to do and how we need to do it.
But most of the people that actually went through the class were people from the church, and wouldn't believe you had that many people within the church with type 2 diabetes or that had an interest in it. I feel that if the minister is involved, then he or she has voice. When they give voice to it, people will tend to listen better or begin to take note better, because usually it's a non-threatening environment, within context of the church.
Tell you the truth, I really wasn't interested in it before, but when it came to my church, I got interested in it. I want to be a part of it. I want to know what it was really about. So when I came to my church with this diabetes management, it really gave me the enthusiasm to work on what I needed to work on.
We have what you call a community health festival once a year. And matter of fact, we used to do a community festival, and we had like sodas and things like that, a lot of stuff. But as a result of being cognizant and intentional as it relates to health and the type 2 diabetes. We received many grants from the Durham Diabetes Coalition, and so we start giving water out. We have a bounce machine, doing a hula hoop, Zumba, things like that, giving people more involved and helping them become more health conscious.
At the Community Awareness Festival, we allowed the teens, the teenagers here in our church, to learn how to make healthy smoothies. Some of the things that our congregation asks us, and they may come to me as chair and want to know, can we have the glucose meters? Can they be provided so people may actually keep up with their readings? Can we have information on eating right? Can we have information on if a person has diabetes or if they're experiencing, we give them information on how to even wash their feet, how to take care of your feet. People come and ask, these are things that they like to ask us to have provided here when we have the workshops, when we do the walkathons, when we have the community awareness festivals, so that this way they can walk away with a ton of information. When they leave here, they have tons of information that we provide for them.
Actually, during the association session, I allow time for health ministry. So that is a way, by having all of those churches present, to inspire them to have a health ministry within their church. As a result, other churches started having health ministry and health fairs and things like that.
And when we know that people are healthy, then we know that they will come to church and they can enjoy themselves and they can shout hallelujah.
More people are aware now of diabetes, the type 2 diabetes, as a result of what Durham Diabetes brought to Ebenezer. So it has definitely been a big help for me and also for the congregation as well.
It looks like the Community Health Days, diabetes self-management classes, and mini grants are having a positive impact on the health of the church. As Reverend Battle said, having Ebenezer team up with the Durham Diabetes Coalition is a win-win for all involved. Many people work to make their food dollars stretch until the end of the month, but unfortunately, it's not always possible. Let's get a few tips on how to purchase healthy foods without breaking the bank.
Many people work hard to make their food dollars last all month. And how many times have you heard that eating healthy is expensive? It's not true. You can fill your kitchen and your plate with healthy, delicious food without blowing through your budget. The most important thing you can do to stretch your food budget is plan. Making a meal plan and a grocery list for the week will help make sure you not only have healthy, delicious meals all week long, but also that the food you purchased won't go to waste. Planning meals for the week allows you to purchase only things you need, stock up when staples are on sale, use the same ingredient for more than one meal, and take advantage of coupons and sales. Keeping in mind the average shopper spends 40% more on impulse buys when grocery shopping without a list. Lots of healthy and delicious foods cost less than $1 per serving. Be creative and use as many of these foods as possible in your weekly meal plan. Items such as apples, pears, carrots, bananas, canned tomatoes, lentils, eggs, yogurt, broccoli, cottage cheese, peanuts, oatmeal, beans, and canned tuna are all under $1 per serving. Having a snack before grocery shopping can also help save money. People who shop hungry spend more on impulse buys because everything looks good when you're hungry. One small sugary drink a day, such as a soda, lemonade, or juice, can cost up to $450 per person each year. Cutting out most sugary drinks is a great idea for your budget, your waist, and your diabetes. Sugary drinks provide calories without much nutrition. Eating whole fruit is the best choice for managing your diabetes and your spending. Keeping portions of expensive items like meat and fish in check is another strategy to make your food dollars stretch. Going meatless just one day a week can really improve your grocery bill's bottom line. Reducing meat intake can also improve your health. Vegetarians have a lower risk of developing heart disease, high blood pressure, and diabetes. At least once a week, try substituting meat with beans, lentils, or eggs as your protein. A little planning can go a long way in making your food dollar stretch. Try one or all of these strategies to keep your stomach and your wallet full.
Like Heidi said, there are many ways to eat healthy without spending a lot of money. The keys to getting your food budget to go further are planning ahead, using ingredients from multiple meals, and eating a little bit less meat. Which strategy will you try next time you go grocery shopping? Being physically active is just as important as eating well when it comes to being healthy. However, sometimes it can be tough to stay motivated. Next, we'll have a personal trainer give us some various techniques on how to keep our motivation levels high when it comes to being physically active.
So the reason I started Mindful Bodies is I've been a fitness trainer for the last 20 years, and I became a psychotherapist about 10 years ago.
I just was tired all the time, didn't have energy to complete, trivial tasks. And, I had hypertension as well, and I just wanted to get healthier. I was on a weight loss journey. I still am on a weight loss journey. I've lost about 60 pounds in the past year. But I felt that something was missing.
In terms of weight loss, what we're really trying to accomplish is a healthy, total mind and body. So when you think about weight loss, you might think it's only about eating well and exercising. Anyone who's tried to lose weight knows it's so much bigger than that, because otherwise no one would have a health problem. So instead, here at Mindful Bodies, what we try to do is try to integrate all areas of your life. So all of our services are based on a wellness model. And so we think about spices, which would be your social, your physical, intellectual, creative, emotional, and spiritual.
For a long time, I only thought that a healthy lifestyle involved maybe being an ideal weight. But one of the things that Mindful Bodies has taught me is that, is much bigger than that.
So motivation and physical activity are highly connected. So here at Mindful Bodies, how we help people to first find the motivation and to keep the motivation is I tell them about 4 main skills. The first one would be to set a realistic goal. So a lot of people who've been inactive for the last 5-10 years think they're going to need to start exercising every single day. That is way unrealistic. If a person says that is their number one goal after being unfit for 5 years, they're going to fail. So just start with 5 minutes per day. And that might be not even at the gym. And the second thing that you need to do is to make a plan. I have my clients use their smartphones, but make it an appointment in your calendar and put it in there so your phone will remind you to do it. People like paper calendars. However it looks, you do have to make a plan and put it down so that you are committed to it. The third step we have people do is to find support. If you do not have support for this new exercise plan, it's probably going to be doomed to fail. So that might be calling up your best friend who's also trying to get more active and saying, girl, can you just help to call me once a day to make sure I've done what it is I'm supposed to do?
Because usually when you have someone working out with you, that's accountability there. And it's also motivation to continue to work out.
And the last and final thing is to give yourself credit. Don't be afraid to give yourself a pat on the back. And that might even be the most important thing for motivation, is to reinforce yourself with a high five or a thumbs up for yourself.
I'm able to give myself credit for small milestones, such as losing inches, clothes fitting differently, being able to look in the mirror and like who I see. My hypertension medication has been reduced since I've started on the fitness journey.
Once someone has fallen off, so like you said, they've been exercising really diligently for about a year. A lot of times it's going to be a life event that might happen, a divorce, a death, something like that, that's going to get them off track. So I would say go back to those things that I told you about, to go ahead and set a plan. It might not be the exact same plan that you had last year. And then to have those goals, find the support, and give yourself credit. So the same exact skills that we use to get you motivated are the same ones we're going to ask you to go back to if the motivation has waned. do not be down on yourself. Many, many, many people have lost motivation to work out. It is not the end of the world. Just go ahead and say something really nice to yourself right now. Pat yourself on the back and say, it's okay, my motivation has waned, but I'm gonna get it together today. I'm gonna stand up right here, I'm gonna set the timer for 2 minutes, and I'm just gonna march in place for 2 minutes. Do it right now, 2 minutes in place. Put on your favorite song, put on your TV show. Just get started right here, right now. This is the right time. Here at Mindful Bodies, I've seen an array of changes that have happened in people's lives when they start committing to exercising and losing weight. It really affects people's lives in all of those different areas, the social, physical, intellectual, creative, emotional, and spiritual, just by losing weight and getting active. It really can change your life.
There is a strong connection between mind and body for overall health. If you remember the spices and use Shantae's tips for getting back your motivation mojo, you will be on your way to living a healthier lifestyle. We've just about reached the halfway mark of the show. We've already discussed Ebenezer Missionary Baptist Church's healthy efforts, how to make your food budget stretch, and ways to stay committed to your fitness routine. In the second half of the show, we'll look at how diabetes and depression go hand in hand, a story of one community member living with type 2 diabetes, and bust a few diabetes myths. Being diagnosed and living with a chronic illness like diabetes requires behavior adjustments and self-management. Change can be difficult and frustrating at times, which may lead to hopelessness or depression. Depression can be an illness within itself, but it is treatable. Let's find out more.
Diabetes is a chronic illness that requires daily self-care. The stress of diabetes management can take a toll, which can lead to feelings of helplessness and sadness. These feelings can prevent you from taking care of yourself. Depression can be caused by a chemical imbalance in the brain. Anyone can become depressed, but people with diabetes have a higher risk of depression than people without the disease. Like diabetes, depression is a serious medical illness. It can affect your life. Symptoms of depression may keep you from maintaining good diabetes control. Feeling down every so often is normal, but some people feel sadness that won't go away. Feeling hopeless or very sad for 2 weeks or longer is a sign of depression. Symptoms of depression include feeling sad, empty, or lonely, loss of interest or pleasure in activities you used to enjoy, unplanned weight loss or loss of appetite, sleeping too much or too little, difficulty concentrating, fatigue, feelings of worthlessness or guilt, or reoccurring thoughts of suicide. If you experience 2 or more of these symptoms most of the day for 2 weeks or longer, it's time to get help. If you're having suicidal thoughts, call 911 or a crisis hotline or go to the emergency room. Thinking seriously about suicide is an emergency. You need to get help immediately. For people who are depressed, getting help can be difficult, but it's the first step towards getting better. If you think you may be depressed, talk to your doctor about your symptoms. If your doctor isn't familiar with treating depression, ask for help finding a specialist who is. Besides working with a professional, you can feel better by making healthy lifestyle choices and surrounding yourself with others. Some self-care strategies include talking about your feelings, eating healthy meals, getting plenty of sleep, staying away from alcohol and drugs. These can make depression worse. Exercising by walking, playing a sport, or something else you enjoy. Volunteering, joining a club or taking a class. Spending time with loved ones, or trying to do the things you enjoyed before the depression. As with other illnesses, it can take time to get better from depression, but you don't have to do it alone. There are local resources in Durham to help you. You can call Alliance Behavioral Healthcare at 800-510-9132 for help figuring out what to do next. You can also walk into their Crisis and Assessment Center located at 309 Crutchfield Street. More information about Alliance Behavioral Healthcare can be found at alliancebhc.org. The National Alliance on Mental Illness Durham chapter offers support and education for families and those with mental illness. For more information on National Alliance on Mental Illness services, Call 919-321-5016 locally or 800-451-9682 toll-free. You can also visit namidurham.org. Depression is an illness that can be caused by many factors and can make it hard to maintain control of your diabetes. The most important things to do are to get help, take care of yourself, and get on the path to healing.
Depression doesn't have to take over your life. In Durham, there are resources to help you. These include Alliance Behavioral Health Care at 800-510-9132 or the local chapter of National Alliance on Mental Illness at 800-451-9682. Remember, you are not alone. The Durham resident featured in the next segment uses a lot of good self-care skills which help her lead a fulfilling life. Let's find out how being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes didn't stop her from living.
Well, I'm a drummer, and my nickname is Summer, so I'm Summer the drummer. And so I teach drumming, and I do drum circles. I do a lot of volunteer work. I volunteer at DPAC and Carolina Theater and at Duke University. I was diagnosed in 2011 after I had a heart attack, and they told me I had had diabetes for 3 months, but I was not aware of it. And so now I'm thinking it might have even caused my heart attack. Diabetes management class, it was like, oh, I can actually manage this. Going to the class, it explained why and how it would help me to eat smaller portions. Just learning about food labels, that was a big chapter that we covered for, I think, 2 weeks. Because I would look at some of the food labels, but I didn't really know what I was looking for. So the understanding of carbs and different proteins, but carbs was really the big one, and fat content helped me to make a better decision in how I choose the foods that I eat. I am more aware of snacks, and carrying food with me in the car. So those are the types of things that came out of the class. I do take yoga actually at the Durham Senior Center on Tuesday and Thursdays, and then the other days, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I walk here at the mall. Having members of the class that said, oh, well, we walk at Northgate Mall. And I said to myself, well, I can do that. It's inside, it's air conditioned, and it's relatively flat. So when I first started walking, I had pain in my legs, and that was my excuse for not walking in the past. And of course, the first day I started walking with them, I had pain in my legs, but the conversation distracted me from the pain, and I didn't think that because they walk for a full hour. I said, wow, I don't know if I can walk for a full hour. But, because of the distraction with us talking, I ended up walking for a full hour. And I'm like, I was amazed at myself. And so the next day, and the next day, and the next day, I found that the pain in my legs started to diminish. I enjoy their company, and it's, and we kind of check each other. Well, what did you eat, and oh, you shouldn't have ate that, and maybe you could eat smaller meals. And Joyce had so many resources for us, and one of them was the veggie van. Oh, the veggie van. I got so excited about the veggie van because I have this little budget, and I'm able to get local fresh foods and vegetables from the veggie van every week at the health department. I used to not get fresh food because it would go to waste. But now I can, make a meal and freeze it, and it's just working out great. I love the veggie van. So I used to go to the rehearsals that Chuck Davis and the American Dance Ensemble, they would rehearse on Monday evenings. And I would bring my little drum and join the guys, and I would drum drum with them, and I built up stamina, because when you drum for dancers, you have to drum very, very fast. So I didn't know that Chuck Davis was looking at me. But one day, close to the holidays, the Christmas holidays, he asked me to drum for his community class. I just felt so elated, and after we performed, this woman came up to me and said, "You're just the person I've been looking for." And she was actually director of continuing education at Durham Tech, and she offered me a job. So I taught at Durham Tech for like 2 years and had wonderful students. It's been good, and all this and having diabetes too. So diabetes does not stop you from doing anything. You just put your mind to it and do it.
Between drumming, yoga, walking, and making new friends, Pat balances a full life. Because she wanted to learn more about her disease and improve her health, she took a self-management class. There are many places to find diabetes education, but it's important to utilize credible resources like classes or workshops led by knowledgeable health professionals. You can find information about diabetes just about anywhere on the internet, books, magazines, and TV, just to name a few. Many sources can misinform people as well when they discuss the secret cure for diabetes or address issues that aren't based on truth. Let's separate some diabetes myth from fact.
So my grandma has diabetes and she's worried that her insulin shots are going to be painful. Are insulin shots painful?
I've heard from many of my patients that they're worried and fearful about having to inject insulin. They worry that it's going to be painful and difficult. Often after people try it, they realize this really doesn't hurt very much at all. Modern needles that are used for insulin syringes and pens are quite small and very sharp, and the pain is really minimal. It turns out that checking the blood sugar can be more painful than insulin injections, and once people get used to it, they really don't mind.
I have a friend with diabetes who says that she can't have any alcohol. Is it true, or is it a myth that people with diabetes can't have any alcohol?
Many people with diabetes believe that they shouldn't drink any alcohol at all. It turns out that drinking in moderation is okay if you have diabetes. And by moderation, I mean 1 drink or fewer per day for women or people 65 and older, while men up to age 65 can safely drink up to 2 drinks per day. It would be a good idea to check with your doctor and make sure that you don't have any other health conditions that might be aggravated by the alcohol, but overall it should not affect your blood sugar control, and it may have some health benefits as well.
I've heard that women with diabetes shouldn't have kids. Is it true, or is it a myth that women with diabetes shouldn't get pregnant?
There are women who have been diagnosed with diabetes before they've had a family and wonder if it's safe for them to get pregnant. Well, it turns out that women with diabetes can have a perfectly healthy baby. If you're thinking about getting pregnant and you have diabetes, it's best to work with your obstetrician before you get pregnant. It's good to get the diabetes under very good control, and you'll need to work closely with your doctor throughout your pregnancy. Women who have diabetes who are pregnant need to be very careful with their diet, check their sugar often, and some will need insulin to keep their sugars under optimal control.
It's great that Dr. Greenblatt has given us the truth about these specific myths. If you need help figuring out what's real versus rubbish from all the diabetes information you come across, visit the TV show page on the Durham Diabetes Coalition's website at www.durhamdiabetescoalition.org. It's that time again. Our 30 minutes of living healthy are just about over. On this episode, we've learned more about the work of parishioners at Ebenezer Missionary Baptist Church. We also discussed ways to make your food budget last throughout the month, how to remain motivated in your fitness routine, and strategies to help you deal with depression. And finally, we met Pat to find out how she took control of her health after being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And we separated diabetes myths from fact. For more information on the resources seen in this episode, visit durhamdiabetescoalition.org. You can also call us at 919-560-7212. We'll see you next time. I'm Jana, and this is Living Healthy.